Hello.
Hi.
How are you guys? Hi, Mary Beth.
I stuffed myself with a yummy grilled dinner that I didn't have to cook, so it's all good.
There you go.
I don't mean to be Winter Hamilton.
I can fix you.
I can do it.
Okay. Cool. Hello, everyone.
There we go.
Every time I have a Zoom meeting with people I haven't seen in a while, it makes me like half thrilled and half sad. Like, yay, people I love and people, great familiar faces. And then I'm like, and I miss everybody. And I just want to see you. So, take what I can get though. Hello. Hi, Jen. Hi, Paula. Hi, Elizabeth. Hi, Brian. Hi, Kristen. Hi, Tiffany. Mary Jen. And some mystery person is connecting to audio. We'll find out soon.
Abby, throw my notebook down.
I
have one.
Hi, this is Mark and Maria Binder.
Hi, guys. Good to see you.
Hi. I don't have our camera on. We're just about to pull into our driveway.
Look at you guys.
Look at us.
That's great.
So our camera, we'll turn it on when we get there.
That works. I'm actually.
Hi, Mom.
Hi.
Is it still on? Turn that sound off.
Hold it down. I'm not centered.
So I just got, we have our last group at youth group that ends at 6:15. And then, so I have to like clean up real quick and you get cranky emails if you don't clean up to their standards. So clean up real quick and then like rush over to the church. And so like I was walking into my office as the clock was turning 6:30 and I was like trying to rush and get everything pulled up. And so now I'm like half distracted because I just pulled up my outline for the evening. I pulled up the website I'm going to reference. I think I've got my PowerPoint ready. Yep, that's ready to go. So I think I'm okay.
How to start a Zoom, Beth?
I'm sorry, what'd you say, Josie?
You know how to start a Zoom. You know how to start a Zoom.
What with just bright and cheerful stories.
Josie thought that was just so funny. She's like, and Beth had to leave to go start a Zoom.
Oh yeah. So during Josie's groups, 7th and 8th grade group. So I'm on this group text, okay, with all of my leaders who run the 4 o'clock Zoom group. And one of them, the one who's the host of the meeting, so the one that has to sign into their Zoom account and start everything, is having computer issues. And they were like, I might be a little late. And I'm like, you can't be late. You're the one starting it.
Started.
And so I paused. We were watching, so we're using my computer to watch the video at the time. And so I pause it and I look at the kids in that group, including Josie, and I'm like, hey guys, I need to pause this for just a second. Can you guys wait for a minute and allow me?
She did just poop, so
group.
she's
So I paused the thing and I was like, hey guys, the other group's having some issues. So I logged on as the volunteer, started a Zoom, made my husband the host, and then logged off of Zoom and got the video back going again. So it only took like 2 minutes out of their whole like meeting, but they were very kind.
I just admire your ability to multitask and here, there, and everywhere all at once.
I mean, do what you gotta do, man. I'm actually like a notoriously terrible multitasker. If you work with me or if you're like good friends with me, you know this about me. So like I know some of you lovely people, because I've watched you, you can sit there and you can like type and like focus on something and have a whole conversation with somebody over here, namely me. And I like, if somebody comes in to talk to me while I'm working, I have to be like, yeah, I cannot. And I don't understand how anybody does do it. Like I start typing my thoughts. I start typing what they're saying. I can't multitask to save my life usually, but I'm a pretty good quick switcher. So I could switch the group off and be like, all right, got to deal with this problem. And now we can come back. So, you know, fun times. What ministry in COVID era is an adventure. So, all right. So looks like we've got a good crowd here and it's 6:36. And so I don't want to keep you guys waiting because you guys are here and on time. So, so I appreciate all of you guys being here. Thanks so much. We would, for those of you who've been around, we usually have a meeting for all parents at this time in the spring. For the first couple of years, we called it summer preview, but then last year we really expanded on it. We brought in a guest speaker who talked to us about, ironically enough, screens and social media about a month before the pandemic hit. So that was fun. Sorry, let me close an application so I don't get interrupted again. Sorry, guys, I am not prepared. Oh wait, that's already closed. It's just pushing the notifications through and I don't know how to stop that. Well, that's great. Gonna be a little distracted. That's okay. So yeah, and we had like yummy food last year. And so I was like, we're in a new era of parent meetings. Like it's gonna be awesome. We'll have trainings and speakers and yummy food. And then this year we have Zoom. So so yeah, I'm sorry that we couldn't have the next new and awesome and exciting parent meeting for you guys this year, but it's the year of the year of being flexible, right? Rolling with changes, doing things differently. And I definitely didn't think you guys would want to sit on Zoom for any more than an hour. And so I opted for this year to just keep it nice and simple. We're going to go over the summer stuff today because you guys would usually have questions about what summer looks like because, you know, summer looks just a little bit different every year. So we have to go over that. And also summer in 2021 is a little nuts. And so wanted to make sure everybody had all their questions answered about what that means. And then also the other thing we're going to do is I'm going to give you guys a WIN team update. I'm thrilled that Mary Beth is here because Mary Beth is on our WIN team. Yay. Hi, Mary Beth. So we're going to give you guys an update on what we've been discussing. And actually there's next steps from that involve all of you all. So I wanted to share and get you all on the same page with that and share what's going on. So, and then we're gonna call it a night. So yeah, that's the parent meeting. And by the way, if you have kids like that are nearby and they're like, I want to hear what's going on. Can we hear what's going on? Yes. I didn't like specifically say families because again, this is just going to be me talking and sharing a lot of really boring things. So there's going to be no games. And so I didn't want to invite kids and have them bored out of their minds, but like, we're not talking about anything super secret. Like not even anything, just regular secret. Like if you're welcome to share anything that we share, of course, and they are welcome to sit in with you if they want to be bored for an hour. So hopefully you all aren't bored, but for them that this might be a little much. So yeah, so that all being said, we're gonna start talking summer. So hold on just a minute. Here we go. So yeah, while I do have some details figured out about the summer trips, and I'm going to share those with you tonight. There are some details that I don't have. So I'm going to share with as much as I can with you, and I really, really strongly encourage you to ask questions. We are doing this meeting style rather than Facebook Live style. And I chose that because I wanted you all to be able to ask questions in real time and for everybody to hear the answers to those questions. and really get a more meeting type feel with this. And because probably if one person's asking a question, somebody else has those same questions. I'm also going to take notes with this right here. There we go, ready to take notes. And so like if you guys ask a question, I'm like, oh, I don't know the answer to that question, I can write that down and I can figure out how to answer your question and get back to you. So and of course there will be some answers that I just simply don't have yet, because I just don't have the information yet. So like for example, for the high school mission trip, we're again going to try again to go to Appalachia Service Project, and they have 3 different locations and they have not yet assigned which group is going to what location because it matters on numbers and they're still waiting on final numbers from all the churches like ours. And so the location they give us will impact like our exact departure time, and they will impact the activity that we do that day. And so like as soon as I get that info, I can then finish planning the rest of it, and then I can share all that information with you. So, yeah, so for some of you, you have been doing this for years and you know what's up with summer trips. You're like, okay, I know how summer trips go best. Yes, so other than the details that are new and specific to this year, y'all, you veterans out there might get a tad bit bored, but I encourage you to hang in there. We will get to stuff that's new to everyone. But also like if you are a veteran youth parent, and I see some of y'all out there, and you would like to add on something that I have said that you think other parents should really know, like, oh, she didn't mention this, but this is really good to know, say it. Like raise your hand, shout it out, do what you need to do, because again, we're in this meeting and we can all benefit from that together. So also I'm really not great at checking the chat when I am leading things. So if you want to ask a question on chat, either one, embrace that it's going to be a little while before I see it, or two, just feel free to raise your hand or use a different method to get to me, or just again, unmute and shout. That's fine. I do youth ministry. I don't mind unmuting and shouting. It's a perfectly viable way to get your point across in a meeting, in my personal opinion. So. All right, are there any questions just about the meeting itself before we get started talking trips? Nope, good. All right, so I am actually going to share my screen because, so I was gonna share it and show you guys a handout that I had made, but then some lovely coworkers of mine made this brilliant new web page. One of them's on here tonight, so I'm looking at you. Made this brilliant new web page that has all of the information that I could share with you. So if I'm sharing something with you now and you need to, you forget and you want to go back and reference it later, you can see it all here. And so that we're at manchesterumc.org/summer is where we're at. So, hey, look, did you guys know there's an all-parent meeting today? Okay, so I think we should just get right started with Spirit Camp. For those of you who've been around, you guys know that Spirit Camp it's our big thing. It has the most attendance of really any event that we do, the most youth attendance of any event that we do. It is probably it would be considered the flagship of our program. It's the flagship event because we put a lot of time and energy and effort into making this a fantastic week. This is something that kids talk about all year. They look forward to it all year. It's a big deal, and I've already started fielding questions from kids. In fact, I get them quite often now. Are we going to Spirit Camp? What's up with Spirit Camp? Are we going to go to Spirit Camp? Spirit Camp? Spirit Camp? So I'm going to share with you all tonight everything I know that needs to be said about Spirit Camp. So. All right, so real quick, again, if you're veterans, hang in there, you guys know all this. So what do you do at Spirit Camp? Well, you do a little bit of everything. Some of those things include crafts, sports, drama, dance, Bible study, We also worship together. We hear testimonies from high school students. We have an Olympics. We host an 8th grade graduation, and we send off our graduating seniors with what's called an affirmation walk. If you know a senior who graduated last year, send them extra lots of love, because this is something that youth look forward to starting in 6th grade. And our seniors last year did not get to experience that. So I'm going to, just FYI, I'm going to invite them all to come back as adults this year if they missed it, of course, and they can participate in the affirmation walk if they choose to. So we're gonna try and get that, but that was heartbreaking last year that we didn't get to have that for them. All participants at camp are part of a family group, which is a supportive and inclusive group, and like it really becomes their family away from home, because, well, you need that when you're at camp. You're away from your family for 5 days, and so this group kind of becomes like your little family at camp. So yeah, so that's just the basic overview. Is transportation offered to and from camp? Yes. So I heard you all 2 years ago. You were like, we don't want to drive our kids to camp, and I said, okay. So we are going to provide buses for our kids to and from camp. If you are of the opinion like, oh gosh, I don't want to send my kid on a bus to camp, no big deal. You can drive them up to camp yourself. You're also welcome to pick them up if you so choose. Most kids are ready to ride the bus home at that point, but if they're a little like anxious and you're a little anxious, like you can still drive them to camp. So when you register, there will be a question on your registration to indicate, yes, I want you to bus my child to camp, or nope, I'm going to drive them myself. I will say, in order to make that bus work, we have to have several Safe Gatherings certified adults, so Safe Sanctuary adults, to supervise that bus ride, okay? Because all of our adults that are there for camp that week, and all of our spirit camp leaders, we are already at camp. We got there that morning to start setting up and getting ready and doing all of the pre-camp things, so that when our campers show up, we are ready for them. And we cannot send 50-something youth on a bus unsupervised for 2.5 hours. We cannot, we will not happen. So if you are super excited that we have a bus this year and are just thrilled about that, consider being an adult chaperone for the drive up and the drive. And then of course, we would bus you back to the church. So consider that. And if you're like, I want to support the youth ministry, but I'm not ready to go to camp for an entire week. Hold on, I got to tell my family stop talking in a group text because they are driving me up the wall. Just a second. Take me off this thread. Okay, stop dinging at me. So yeah, if you're like, I can't commit to a whole week, but I could give up like 5 hours on a Saturday to make this awesome bus idea actually work, would love to have you. All right. Also, I'm screen sharing, so I can only see like a few of you. And so again, if you have questions and you raise your hand, I'm probably not gonna be able to see you. So again, just unmute and shout. Okay. Are there youth leadership opportunities? Yes. For those of you who are veterans, you know, all high schoolers are eligible to be spirit camp leaders. There's an application process. It's right here. You can click on it. Oops, and I accidentally just clicked on it. So there you go. And I can't get away from it because the Zoom thing is sharing. All right, I'm gonna have to stop sharing and get back to that page and then reshare. That's great.
Hey, Beth.
All right. Yeah.
Did you cover when it is? I don't know if I missed that or not.
We haven't covered. Is there a date?
Okay.
There should be. There it goes. It's Saturday, July 17th through Thursday, July 22nd.
Thank you.
You're welcome. For most, a lot of you know, but for those of you who don't, we set our dates for the summer before. So these dates that I'm going to share with you today have actually, we've had those on our calendar since since August of last year. So if you guys are like super planners, and I know some of you are, Every year we do that. So you can start planning your summer for the next summer way before. So yes. Did I hear anything? Nope. Okay. All right. So again, we changed up, it was 2 years ago, actually, we changed up the format of leaders. Instead of just having counselors, that everybody would just come and we all kind of did the same similar things. We switched it up. We're calling them leaders because, again, since camp is now open to incoming sixth graders through graduated seniors, it doesn't make sense to have like a sophomore counselor to a junior camper. So we have a leadership team and they have extra responsibilities throughout the week. So again, if you're a high schooler, you can 9th through 12th grade, you can apply to be a leader. We have 2 different roles. You can be a mentor or a coordinator, or you can even be both if you are really, if you're really into it. But again, we found 2 years ago that different people had different strengths. Some people who were excellent in planning events were not so great about being mentors to middle schoolers, and then vice versa. We had some excellent people, excellent youth who were awesome with middle schoolers, but would forget every supply if you let them for an event that they're running. So again, if you have high school youth, they are welcome to come to Spirit Camp as a camper and enjoy the week. And actually, so 2 years ago when we did this, we had high school campers for the first time, and y'all, it went so good. The high schoolers that went just had a ball. A lot of them had no issues with because some of their like peers were also leaders. Just the way that we have it set up, it was perfect. And so like if you have a high schooler that's like, I really want to go to camp, but I don't want to be like, I don't want the responsibilities that come with that, they can come to camp. And it worked out really well. And also they would come back again. And so it's kind of a win-win-win-win-win situation for everybody. So yeah, that is high school leaders. And y'all, for those of you who aren't familiar with Spirit Camp, our high school leaders are what make this camp precious. So I've been camping a long time. I've been camping most of my life as a kid and a teenager, and then I've been a counselor at camps 1 to 2 times. Ooh, that says somebody raised their hand. That's awesome. Okay, I see that. Learning new things about Zoom. Yeah.
This is Victoria, Josie's mom. What are the ages for Spirit Camp?
So incoming 6th graders. So if you have completed 5th grade and all the way through graduated seniors. So
okay.
Yes. It's a majority middle schoolers because this has been a middle school camp for however many decades it's going on. We just switched it to middle and high school. But again, like after our pilot year with that, it was a huge success. And so middle and high schoolers are welcome to that and high schoolers have the option of being leaders as well. So yeah, and again, those high school leaders, they're what make it special. So I've been camping and camp counseling like for basically my entire life. And this camp is special. This camp is different in a really awesome way. And what makes it different, what makes it special are the high school leaders and the amount of effort and work that they put into making this a great experience for everybody. The kids benefit, the adults benefit, and of course the high school leaders benefit too. And so like, it's just, they are the ones who make this camp special and wonderful. So.
Hey Beth.
Yeah.
I forget, is it only graduating high schoolers who can be leaders?
To have completed 9th grade. And
sorry,
there is, once you click on the leadership application, the first page of it is all like information just for high school leaders. I would click on it again, but then again, I can't get back to my screen because my Zoom sharing screen like covers up the tab. But that should answer if you have specific questions about what it means to be a leader, what are your expectations and what are the meetings, because we already have the meetings planned. You can click on that and get probably all of your questions answered. So
okay, thank you.
You're welcome. So how much does Spirit Camp cost? So If you've been around for like the last year and a half, you'll notice that anytime we have a special event, I don't advertise the cost of it. It's on here just for your information, but when you see this like advertised, like in the e-news and when I put it out on Facebook and stuff, I don't put the cost anywhere because we don't want cost to be a barrier. We have money budgeted into our trip for scholarships. So when you go in to register, all you have to do is you can select, I want to pay the full amount. So again, you've seen this with other events, full amount, half of it, or none of it. And there are no questions asked. If you select none, I'm not going to be calling you up and be like, hey, so did you really need none? Like, are you really desperate? No, like, just tell me you need the full scholarship. And I say, okay. And you're registered. So if you can pay, there is a $50 deposit due at registration. And again, if you need to register without it, you can do that. And then the camp total is $230. I've had some parents ask, so last year's Night at the Bistro was really great and we didn't use any of it this past summer. So $10,000 from last year's Night at the Bistro carried over and we're using that for this summer's trips. And then also we got a budget increase this year in the youth department. And so between the budget increase and the carryover from last year's bistro and the per camper cost, that covers the cost of the trip. So just because I know that that would be a point of curiosity. So, and also why we didn't use Race You to the Movies as a fundraiser for summer trips, because we're good. We were good for this year. We will not be good next year.
What channel Harry and Meghan are on? I think CBS.
Yeah, it is.
All right. So adults. So in case you didn't know, we have to have adults to make things like camp go. We can't do it without adults. So the beautiful thing about Spirit Camp is, again, that if that your high school leaders really do the lion's share of the running of stuff. So most of your duties as an adult at camp are the safety and the wellness of the campers and the leaders for that matter. And so you will be responsible for leading family group discussions. While back, we used to have leaders do that, but then we changed that because that was a little bit too much. They could plan and coordinate a party, but they really struggled with leading the family group. So that's something you're responsible for. And we'll have meetings before camp to help get you ready to take on that responsibility. You will be in a family group, and if you are brand new, we will pair you with a veteran adult, so you're not going to be kind of hung out to dry. To make the camp go, we do need about 16 adults, 16 adults total, and that does not include me. So if you are interested in being an adult chaperone, please let me know. You can email me or call or I don't care. You can do whatever you want. If you're going to go to camp with me, you can find any method you want to let me know, and I will be thrilled no matter what. So yeah, and by the way, I don't have too many adults on here to give testimony, but adults typically come back from camp and say like that was one of the best weeks of their year, that they can't get enough of it, that they can't wait to come back. So like it's really affirming and edifying for adults too. You will be tired, but you will be filled with lots and lots of joy from the week. So if it helps to those of you out there, we sleep in air-conditioned cabins. We eat in an air-conditioned dining hall, and we 3 square meals a day. And we have family group time, most of us, in air-conditioned rooms. So like, this is about as posh camp as you can get. We also have hot water, good water pressure. Like, y'all, if you can deal with being around kids all week, all the other amenities. So we've got you.
Until it starts.
I'm gonna see if I can't mute somebody. Maybe. It's kind of hard to see.
Can you put this chocolate milk away?
Oh, I see it. Okay. Got it. All right. All right, here's what you've all been waiting for. COVID information. So in order to make camp go, we have to be in phase 4. And before you ask, yes, I asked for an exception and I was told no. This is a full stop. We have to be in phase 4. And the reason for that is we just simply cannot do the things that we would need to do without it. So like, because in phase 3, we have to stay 6 feet apart and we have to be wearing masks. You cannot ride a bus 6 feet apart from each other. You cannot sleep in bunks 6 feet. You're about 2 feet away from each other in your bunks, maybe 3 on a good day. You are eating right next to each other. And again, we're on buses, and I don't know about you, but I don't want to walk in between campers walking around camp getting 6 feet apart, literally until I die. So in order to go to camp, we have to be in phase 4. So the leadership of the church, as you know, they're the ones who determine when we move phases. I have shared with them that when they are making decisions, to please keep us in mind that if they feel ready to make that move, that July 17th would be a great starting date for them when they feel ready for that. And so, and I have made my point of just how important this event is to the health and vitality of our ministry, of our youth, and all of that. So I've done everything I can, and I've asked again, even if the church is in phase 3, can we still go? And they're like, no, okay, all right. So if we are not in phase 4, starting on July 17th, we are going to instead have what we're calling a spirit weekend. And it's going to be Saturday through Monday. It'll be, so that's the same dates as camp would be. So if you block out camp, it's the same dates blocked out. And it'll be from 1 o'clock to 9 o'clock each day. We opted for that because I don't know if you know this, but teenagers tend to not be morning people. We wanted to capture the magic of having like the fire pits at night and the setting the mood of, because every night at camp we end with worship and discussions, and we're out under the stars, and we didn't want to lose that. So instead of offering more of like an early day camp, it's a later day camp. We will be at Manchester. We'll both be out on the parking lot and inside based on the activities. We're hoping to get to spend some of the time at a local park like Schroeder Park, but there's a lot of details that we've got to get worked out before we can say that that's what we're doing for sure. And we're going to work really, really hard, you guys. And when I say we, I mean our Spirit Camp, I call it our steering committee. So it's got a whole bunch of Spirit Camp veteran adults on there. I was actually on that team before I got on staff here. And so there's 5 of us, and we care deeply about Spirit Camp, and we love it. And we've spent a lot of time together since January trying to come up with some stuff that we feel is going to be good. And so we're working hard to capture the essence of Spirit Camp in a version that takes place in phase 3 here at church. And so like we're going to do family groups. We'll do some of the old standby crafts that they're used to. We're going to do some of the games that they're used to. We are going to still have a Cross Diva. We're still going to do Secret Pals. So we're going to try and do all of that stuff. Will it be the same? Will they be like, woo, Spirit Camp after Spirit Weekend? No, they won't. It is not the same. It cannot replicate the joy that is the sleep over 18-hour-a-day experience that is Spirit Camp. But we're hoping that kids will be able to leave with a smile on their face, that they will leave closer to God, that they will leave with joy in their hearts from this 3-day experience. So that is the goal. And then, so if you're ready to register, you can do that right here. So before I go on, does anybody have any questions about Spirit Camp or Spirit Weekend? All right, it's already 7:04, so I'm going to try and talk faster.
That's what is it at?
Where is it at? It's a place called Camp Joota. Oh, look at that. Tiffany even linked it straight to Camp Joota's website. She's so good. It's about a 2.5-hour drive. It's north of here. It's in Clarence, Missouri. So Oh, something I didn't put on here is we take a field trip on Monday, and we go to a nearby water park. By nearby, it's like a 40-minute drive. And so we went to this water park last year for the first time, and it's really cute because it's kind of small, like it's not like a Hurricane Harbor size water park, but it's big enough for our teens that it feels neat. And it's really fun. And oh my gosh, I had so many kids that were like bummed that we couldn't do a float trip because, well, you can't float in northern Missouri. It doesn't exist. It's too flat. But kids who were disappointed about the float trip came back like, that was better than the float trip. So like, I'm thrilled that we found that water park and we get to do that as our offsite trip on Monday. All right, I'm moving on to our mission journeys. We'll start with the high school mission journey. We're going back to Appalachia Service Project. We actually went there 4 years ago. I didn't go. Nick took them to ASP. So it is Appalachia Service Project is a well-known organization in the United States for doing really, really good mission work. You know, I'm sure some of you have heard, the phrase toxic mission, where people kind of come in and do things for a community, but then in the long run actually end up making it worse for various reasons that I'm not going to go into today. And ASP actually does an excellent job of making sure that that is not the case. ASP partners with the homeowners that we're helping, and they also do a really good job of screening and vetting their homeowners so that we know that the people that we are helping truly are in need of that. And then of course that it's a safe place for our youth to be while they're there. And so this captures mission trip to the T. Okay, so like when you go to Appalachia Service Project, you start working in the morning and you work hard until you stop in the afternoon around 4 o'clock. You're going to be doing manual labor. And so like this trip is not for the faint of heart. But the beautiful thing is I've never been to ASP, but I've been on similar type of mission trips that are a lot of heavy work. And just similar to the experience I've had and the kids who came back after this trip, all of them just came back and said, oh my gosh, that was amazing. It was amazing. And they say that because they got to see and experience a whole different culture. So like Appalachia is very different from St. Louis, and in lots of different ways. And it's not better, it's not worse, it's just very different. But then they also see real rural poverty and what that really looks like. And it's perspective changing. It's very relational. You really get to know the homeowners that you're working with. You gain a lot of skills, like you learn how to do some household repairs and whatever you're doing. And again, like you go home at the end of the day and you're tired, but you just feel so good about the work that you've done. And at the end of the week, you see how much their lives are better because of the week you spent working. And that there's a feeling, if you've never been on a mission trip, there's just no other feeling like that. So it's a really special trip. If you have a high schooler, you have to have completed 9th through 12th grade. However, we are offering a different option this year, and I hope that it goes well and that we can do this in future years. If you have a youth that has completed 8th grade and they want to go on this high school trip, they can. However, they also have to attend the middle school mission journey. Okay. So you can't skip the middle school. If they want to attend both, they are welcome to do that. So we recognize, that different youth are in different places, and some are going to be ready for a trip like this and some are not. And we want to try and honor different kids in different stages of maturity, even though they might be in the same grade. So how much does it cost? Again, same cost spiel as Spirit Camp. You can get half or full scholarships. The total price is $225. If you want to know more about ASP and how they run and what is going to be expected, you can click here and it will take you to a whole bunch of information and tell you everything you could possibly want to know about it. I'm gonna skip COVID information for right now and I'll come back to that. So here's the joy about ASP. We need 2 adults for every 5 youth. This is not my rule. This is ASP's rule, and they are very serious about it. So that means in order to make this trip go, we need 6 adult chaperones. And yes, I'm included in that number. So technically we need like 5 volunteers. There is no experience necessary. Now, if you know a person who does have some home like renovation experience, ASP loves adults coming in with that knowledge and that skill set. They put you to work for sure. So if you know somebody that has that and would be pretty good with youth, and by good, I mean just like they have to love and appreciate youth, we would love to have them. But also, like, I have no home renovation skills. I'm just going to put that out there. I learned a bunch when I was in high school going on mission trips. Guess what? You don't use it, you lose it, and I've lost it all. So, but I'm still going, and it's going to be great. And so anybody who wants to go is very, very welcome. And of course, you have to be safe gatherings trained. Okay, COVID information. So the similar type of thing to Spirit Camp. We have to be in phase 4 in order to go. If we don't do that, we are going to have an alternate trip set up with LifeWise STL. It will be 3 days. So it'll be, oh, hey, we made a mistake there. Monday, I believe Monday's August 4th. And then to Wednesday, and we'll be doing like a day trip to Kingdom House, and we'll travel, we'll go to Kingdom House, we'll do good work for them, and then we'll have to go home at the end of the day. And of course, all of the protocols that are in place will have to be there, the distancing, the masking, and all of that stuff. And we can't stay overnight. So, so that's what we will do instead. I don't think I see it listed here, but if you register for any of these trips, Spirit Camp, middle school, or high school mission journey, you are automatically registered for the phase 3 experience. Now, if you want to bow out of that, that's fine, but you don't have to like register again. If you're registered for one, you'll register for another. And obviously the cost difference is huge, right? It costs a whole lot less money to stay in town than it does to go out of town. So unless you tell us otherwise, we will refund you the difference. So once we know how many kids are going and we can work out and we figure out, okay, we're gonna have to go to Spirit, to LifeWise instead, we'll figure out how much that will cost. And then we will refund you the difference of that. And so, okay, any questions about the high school mission journey?
What is the criteria to go from phase 3 to phase 4?
Good question. So our lead team at church, so that's Andy and Jim and Phil and Stephanie, I believe, make those decisions. They might also come with the leadership board. I'm not too sure. It's above my pay grade, I'll say it that way. But they have been using the St. Louis County Health Department's recommendations and following their lead on how they are approaching things. And they, of course, are using statistics that they are gathering with, they have a pandemic response team here in St. Louis, a task force. They have a pandemic task force made up of doctors and stuff that are keeping eyes on everything and providing updates and making recommendations. So we're following them. And they are also going to be taking vaccination rates into account for phase 4. So they're looking at like percentage vaccinated and they're looking at herd immunity. And they're again, none of us are scientists or doctors, but like that's the stuff we're going to be looking out for when that becomes known. So does that answer your question by chance?
Yeah, I mean, there's just a lot of known unknowns, and it is what it is. And I think we're all just so grateful and excited and hopeful about phase 3. So
yes, yeah. Yes. I echo every last thing you said. So many unknowns. I'm really tired of them. I know you all are too. But yes, I'm also very excited about phase 3. Every time I talk about going back into phase 3, I always go with, and phase 3 is coming. So yeah. Okay. Any other questions about the high school mission journey? All right, I'm gonna move along. Again, if you're raising your hand, I can't see most of you, sorry. All right, middle school mission journey. Okay, some of you might notice off the bat that this is a different date than what's been on the calendar since August. I am very, very, very sorry. We are changing the date, but it's for a very, very good reason, because we have to be in phase 4 in order to get the full version of this trip. We are going to be more likely by a significant margin to be in phase 4 by August rather than early June, which is where the trip originally was planned. So if that messes with your schedules, I really am sorry. For those of you who know me, you know I hate to change dates once they are out, and times and details and all that. But it's really important to me that our kids get every opportunity to go on this trip in its full iteration, and that we're just going to be more likely to do that if we go in August rather than June. Y'all, if we do this, I need y'all to pray for me because I will be going to Spirit Camp, and then I'll come back, I'll have a week, and then I'm going to go to high school mission, and then I'll have about 2 days, and then I'll go to middle school mission. So yeah, if y'all are praying people, and I hope you are, send some prayers my way, because I'm gonna be tired by the end of that extravaganza, but I will feel great because these are great trips. So so this is again to LifeWise STL. I promise we're not going to go to LifeWise STL every single year with middle schoolers, but with all of the nutso-ness that has been the world, we just keep going back there, and we go back because it's really a great experience. So we went 2 years ago, and the kids that went just had an amazing time. We all bonded, we had tons of fun. The joy of Kingdom House is, or you can hear, I still call it Kingdom House, LifeWise, is that they really, the work that they have us do is doable of all ages and abilities. So like, if you, like we're stocking food pantries, you know, we're folding clothes in their bodega, we're playing with kids in their day camp, like we're doing stuff that middle schoolers can easily do, but it's also really, really important work. And then the other joy of LifeWise is they do a whole service learning component. So not only are you doing work, you're learning about urban poverty, you're learning about systemic issues in St. Louis. You're learning about, they'll notice when they're there that the majority of clients are Black. And so we'll talk about what does systemic racism look like, and why is there this huge economic and color divide here in St. Louis. So they get to learn about all of that stuff too, which is really great because it really increases compassion and understanding, and it opens conversations for what follow-up mission work looks like. And of course, we as a church support LifeWise STL all year long, and so we get to talk about that too. So it's just this really great experience for our middle schoolers, and of course it's close to home. So if you've got a middle schooler who's a little less mature and a little bit less ready to travel long distances for a trip, this is perfect because it's, you know, we're 30 minutes away from home. Where if a kid was really having a hard time, a parent could come out in 30 minutes flat and get to see them. So it's great for this age for that reason too. So yeah, this talks about what they're doing. Oh yeah, we also have a community garden that we'll work in sometimes. And then we stay there. They have what's called an urban forum house. And so it's a house that's been renovated, that it blends in with the neighborhood, but it's like literally across the street. Like if you're standing at the entrance to I keep wanting to say Kingdom House to LifeWise, you can stand on the sidewalk, walk across the street, and walk up the stairs to the urban forum house. So it's literally right there in the neighborhood at LifeWise, and it's great because there are bunk beds, and so that's nice. A lot of times on mission journeys, you have to sleep on the floor. You don't have to do that here. but they also make all of their own food. And I actually, at one of the things we did last year, they did a service learning activity where they had to like use a very strict budget and food stamps to put together like a grocery list for a family for a week. And had a whole conversation about that in the end of the trip last year. I said, do you guys have any idea how much I spent on food for the however many of us for this week? And they guessed, and what was interesting is they guessed numbers way lower than what I actually spent, because they had just done this activity and like were used to like having to like strictly budget. And I said, actually, no. And I think the number was $250 that I spent on food for them for the week. And we did not eat like kings and queens. Like we ate like spaghetti, you know, we ate at tacos, we ate, you know, normal like mission youth type food. You know, we didn't even splurge for like pizza. And they were just shocked, you know. And so that was, again, like that was another learning experience about like, wow, you know, like food costs money. If you don't have a lot of money, you don't get this is why hunger is a real issue. So yeah, we got to have conversations like that, which is great. This journey pretty much only cost $50. You were buying food for the week. And again, the scholarships are available for that. COVID information, this isn't going to shock you. We'll have to be in phase 4. We will still go to Kingdom House. Life-wise, oof. We will just do it for Friday. Oh, I got to change the dates for that. Sorry, guys. I'll work on that. But it will be that same Friday through Sunday. So Friday the 13th through Sunday the 15th. And again, it'll be a day trip to LifeWise. We'll do work, we'll do service learning, and then we'll go home in the evening. So, also, if we get to do the full version in phase 4, we'll do stuff in the evening, and we have lots of fun. So last year I said we were going to go to, or 2 years ago, I said we were going to go to the City Museum. We did not get to do that. Didn't know City Museum wasn't open during the week. In the middle of the summer. I was quite shocked, but they are open on the weekends. So we will get to go back. We will go to the City Museum this year because we're going on a weekend. I also would like to go to City Garden, and I'm looking into possibly doing the ropes course at the Union Station, because I actually went there with my daughter last week and it was so cool. So appreciating the city and all of the wonderful things the city has to offer while we're out. Okay, any questions about the middle school mission journey? Anybody? We good? Okay. Again, you can just go to this website if you need to any questions answered. You can also email, text, call me, whatever you need to do. If you have any follow-up questions, I'm happy to answer those for you. Okay, like I said, I'm just now checking chats. Let's see. I think we went over all the COVID sections, I think. And then oh, somebody had to go. Okay. If we are in phase 4, I don't think we'll have to wear masks. If we need to, we'll have to do some thinking about meals and stuff, because that's where that gets tricky, and sleeping. And so, so I doubt we'll be using masks in phase 4. But I don't know that for 100%. But that would pose some issues trying to do camps, mission trips, because of the eating and the sleeping arrangements. So, okay. Are we ready to move on to Win Team updates? All right. I will move on. Okay. So I made a PowerPoint, you guys, just for you. And it's super involved and fancy. It's not. It's just designed to be a thing. So for those of you who are unfamiliar with WIN stands for What's Important Now. This team has, I think, so there's actually a bunch of different WIN teams in the church. I believe there's 6, and youth is just one of the WIN teams. We've already been meeting for a couple of years. We currently, I think, have 7 members. We have me. Chuck Healy is our chair. He's also on the leadership board and is a confirmation leader. We have Mary Beth Harper, who's here with us today. She's a very involved member with soon to be 6th grader. We have Jenny Schumacher, who is actually an adult volunteer for about a decade in the youth department, and she still volunteers as a sub and does other random things for us, still very involved. Patrick Clover, he's our young adult youth intern. He is also on it. And then we have 2 youth. We have, Curtis Heinrich, our Cantate director, is on it as well. And we have 2 youth. We have Izzy Massey, who's a freshman in high school and quite the up and coming leader. And we have Brendan Duff, who is a junior in high school, and he's very involved as well. And essentially our goals as a team are, I mean, it's pretty blunt, like we want to increase the participation in the youth program. So our youth department is big and relative to like other youth programs. However, it does not match the size of our worshiping community. And by match, I mean proportionally. It should be a certain percentage of our worshiping community, and we are not there yet. And so we're not looking to like become the next mega church here in the youth department. We're just looking to get our numbers to where they need to be. So again, if you've been around a while, nothing's new here. This is just to reiterate like who we are and what we're doing. And we've been meeting about once a month since about 2 years ago. So one of the things that we've started discussing in December or January, so pretty recently, there are departments out there that actually do comprehensive youth ministry research. And I realized that some of you might not be aware of that, like, yeah, there are whole groups of people out there doing really good and important research. So there's this one very, very well known in our field. This study is very well known because it was a 10-year study from 2004 to 2014. It was conducted by the Fuller Youth Institute, which is part of Duke Divinity School, which is a pretty well-known, well-respected divinity school that United Methodist pastors have the option of going to. And so they did this study, and it was prompted by this statistic, and that is that 50% of youth leave the faith in the first few years post high school. And so that is, of course, if you're like me and you're like a parent and you've got a youth and you're raising them in the church because you want them to be Christians, you want them to find a home in the Christian church, the statistics should make you go, oh, my kid's got a 50% chance of being in that statistic, right? And so like this team set out to figure out why that's happening and what we can do about that now to help increase that statistic. So the research project is actually, they use the term sticky faith. So the idea is that we're trying to get the youth to get their faith to stick even when they leave high school. It's also the name of a book. So when you hear me talking about the sticky faith research, I didn't come up with that phrase, but that's the phrase that we're using for this. If you are a research nerd and you would really love to know more about the study and you want to know what they did and what they looked like in their process and their methods and all of that, you can go to this link right here and you can read to your heart's content about it. I'm not going to go into all of that because I think most of you are like probably, well, not like me. I wanted to hear more about the research study, but you want to know, of course, like, well, what did they find? And so we're going to skip to that. You can also read a book. There's an easy to read book called Sticky Faith. It's by Chap Clark and Kara Powell. And that's, I've read that book and I highly recommend that book. It's an excellent book. It breaks down this research, makes it easy to understand. They use layman's terms. And then, of course, offer real world suggestions. It's actually a book written to parents, not youth leaders. It's to help parents help their kids get a sticky faith. But of course, as a youth leader, all of that stuff is really good information and relevant to me. So yeah, you can learn more about that there. here we go. Here's the results. So the results of the study found that there are 4 key factors that are going to help youth have a sticky faith when they leave high school and go into college. And so the first is intergenerational relationships. And I see there, I have 5-to-1 ratio. Most of you are going to see that and go, okay, yeah, 5 youth to every 1 adult. Nope. That ratio is 5 adults for every 1 youth. 5 adults for every 1 youth is their recommendation. And so essentially, what that means is we need to make sure that our youth are integrated fully into the life of the congregation. They are making these relationships, and not just with me. I am one person. I think I'm pretty cool and I like me, but they need more than just me. They need a bunch of adults pouring into their lives. And not necessarily just like people who come out and do the youth ministry, right? Like, because that's a pretty small select people. Like, we can pour into the lives of our youth without necessarily like giving up 3 hours of our Sunday every Sunday. Like, we can find other ways to do that. Number 2, whole gospel. So basically, don't water stuff down. The gospel is powerful and impactful when you see it presented in its full capacity. So they use the words robust and relevant. So making sure that the gospel as it's presented is relevant to their day-to-day life, so that it's something they can actually use in their day-to-day. It's not just like an exercise in brain, like where you go and you're like, oh, I learned an interesting thing today. No, like it's something that like, oh, I had this really profound experience with the gospel today, and I want to figure out what that looks like in my day-to-day life now and start acting differently. So robust and relevant gospel being presented. Number 3 is partnership with families. So making sure that families have everything they need, because believe it or not, you are still the number 1 influencer of faith in your youth, even when they become teenagers. You might think, well, yeah, that's obvious when they're kids, but teenagers, they don't want to talk to me. How am I the number 1 influencer in their faith if they just like slam their door and stay locked up in their room for 4 hours at a time? If that's happening to you, know that you're not alone. That's very normal. It'll be okay. This too shall pass. Okay. That said, you are still the number 1 influencer of faith in their lives. And so if you guys have what you need to do this hard work of raising a teenager, and then add that extra thing of raising the teenager in the faith, you need you need to be equipped and ready to do that. So that is number 3. And then the last one is a safe place to doubt. And not just being told that this is a safe place to doubt their faith, but also showing an example, like actually going and at their small group meetings, people sharing what's really on their minds, people sharing like, well, actually, I don't know how I feel about all of this God stuff. It seems a little crazy, because developmentally, that's what they're doing, right? They're questioning everything. If you remember what it's like to be a teenager, it's not all that fun because your brain is like, well, how do I know that this, my parents have always just said this is right. Is this actually right? I don't know, and so church needs to be an actively safe place where they can start exploring those questions now, because, well, what do we know about young adults? If they don't do that when they're teens, get to be young adults, and then it's like, wait, really? Why have I never questioned this before? I'm throwing this all away. Like we all know college students that have been in that situation. We might have been those college students, right? And so we have to do that now when they're teenagers, because we all doubt, right? That's a normal part of being a Christian, and it's important to really focus on that and explore that here. All right, so that's what they recommend. That's what this long involved research study led to. So so I started getting really excited. I was like, okay, we started actually trying to get towards meeting some of these goals. What would that look like? And as I'm dreaming about that, thinking about that, it made me realize that actually, if we implement some of that stuff, if we implement some things to try and reach those goals, we actually can kill two birds with one stone, and work on some of the presenting problems that our youth department has. Okay, so hi, I'm in charge of the youth departments. And so I'm here to share with you that, like, I am not perfect. Our youth department is not perfect. Also, our church is not perfect, but like, we are all a work in progress, and we are all working on some things. And so I see three main presenting problems currently in our youth ministry. And the first one is kind of a really big one for me. We have segregated programming, right? All of our programming happens at a different time and in a different place. I know it's in the same building, but we are in a whole different part of the building. And again, a completely different time for all of our stuff. And that includes our special events, and everything is just, you've got like the main church, and like children are part of the main church, adults are part of the main church, and then we have like youth who are like over here. So, I mean, and that's the way it is, and that's the way it's been for a really long time. Second is there's a lack of support for parents. I have tried really, really hard to incorporate parents more into what we're doing. We're doing these parent meetings. We have the parent youth or the parent leader conferences. We're doing there's something else. I don't know. I've enacted some things to get you all more involved, but it's so far. So far from enough, and that's on me. I'm not saying like, and you guys need to like get more. No. I'm saying we are not doing enough in our department to equip you and empower you and support you to do this work of raising teenagers in the faith. And so that's a huge growing point for us. And then again, this is the reason we have a WIN team. Our youth numbers are not proportionate to the size of the worshiping congregation. We have made a ton of changes in the past few years, especially this past year, this past year, yes, because of COVID. But I mean, before that, we made these huge overhauls programmatically. We completely renovated the youth space. We got new curriculum. We started training our leaders. We started incorporating some really big fun stuff into our programming, and the kids who are there are like, this is great, we love this. This is, I mean, by and large, you get some critics now and then too, not gonna lie. I don't have 100% approval rating, but we overall the youth have really enjoyed it, and yet we're not seeing the results numerically. And so that makes me, and of course the rest of the WIN team, pause. Now, to be clear, we're not going down. Okay, so numbers for the youth department and really the rest of the church have been going like this for several years. Okay, and so this last year, when we made all those changes and did all that work, we saw it level. Okay, so that was cool that we didn't keep going down. We saw it level, but we had potential to really start the journey back up, and it didn't happen. And then of course COVID hit, and nothing matters anymore numbers wise. We're all doing the best we can, and some people are making it, some are not, and I'm not too worried about it. But when we get back going again, like, we really want to do things in our program that work, that are getting that youth can get here, parents can get their kids here, and that it's just an overall holistically a good place to be, where we get those results.
Hey Beth.
Yeah.
This is Joan Bender. I've got a question. When you look at those statistics, are the numbers down relative to other United Methodist churches? I mean, I wouldn't think that it's just our church. I've read some things myself, and I think it's churches in general, right, are going down, or is it particular to our church?
Numbers are going down. Yes. There's not particular to ours. Every denomination, every conservative churches, liberal churches, moderate churches, everywhere in between, we are seeing, and adults too, like, we're seeing a decline in religious affiliation across the nation and across the world. So no, this is not a specific to Manchester UMC issue at all. However, there are some churches who have defeated that trend, and they are going up. They are in youth ministries as well. They are defying it, and they are finding ways to go up. And so,
do we know what those churches are? We can
Yes.
take this discussion offline, but I'd be curious to see exactly what those churches are, and let's go visit them. You know,
I agree.
Let's see what they're doing right.
Yeah, right. We actually talked with some of those churches a couple years ago, back when we first started the WIN team, and we learned a lot from them.
Right.
And then when we started this conversation back in January, I reached out to youth pastors from other churches that have seen numerical growth and are similar to us. So I think this might be on the next slide. Yes, next slide. Number 3, we have been talking to other large and non-fundamentalists. And so what I mean by that is moderate to progressive churches, affluent UMC. So some churches are growing, and just going to throw this out there because their theology approach is you come to church because if you don't, you're going to hell, right? Like, and so there's that there, and it's a sin to not go to church, you know, like, so there's that messaging that's in there. There's fear-based motivation in there, and that is not our jam, right? And that's not these churches' jams either. So like large non-fundamentalist affluent UMC churches, so like churches pretty similar to ours, that have faced similar issues to us, and have reversed their trend and have started seeing increase in their youth departments by a lot. And so I reached out and chatted with a couple of them, asked them a million questions, and got lots of really great information that I've shared with the WIN team. So yeah, so we have been talking to others, and also WIN has been brainstorming, and also YAC has been brainstorming. And what's fun, especially with YAC, is that when we've really started brainstorming, we've started really thinking outside the box. The general feel of the room, we meet on Zoom, so you know, the feel of the Zoom is that of like of a hope and excitement. So like, oh my gosh, we can do things differently, and that could actually work, and this actually works better for me, and like my mom would love this, you know. So like there's this kind of excitement in the room as we think about what we can do to actually solve some of the issues that we have. So all of that being said, is we have absolutely no set plans. Zero, zip, nada, we have nothing. In fact, we'd come up with some brainstorming ideas, and there was one idea in particular that we had, and we were feeling good about it. And then one of our WIN team members was like, well, actually, have you thought about this? And I was like, no, but let me get back to you. And I went to YAC, and YAC was like, well, actually, yeah, that's a huge problem. And so we had this plan, and we were kind of excited about it. And then within like a week, it got completely axed. Like it was gone. Like, oh, nope, not doing that anymore. And so that's where we're at. Like, we're still brainstorming, we're still researching, we're coming up with a lot of ideas, but we haven't landed on anything. And so what we want to do is, of course, get to a point where we feel good about landing on some things. And so in order to do that, we need your help. And I reckon, oh my gosh, it's 7:45. I'm sorry, guys. I wanted to be done by 7:30. I talked too much. I'm sorry. We're almost done. It's like the second to last slide. So what we need is we want and really need to hear from you. Okay. So, you know, that whole partnership with parents thing, like I take that really seriously. I want to hear from you all and your youth. And we're going to host 2 listening sessions this spring, and we're going to also have one online survey. You don't have to fill out the online survey if you come to a listening session. We're just trying to capture as many people as possible, because we know that sometimes people won't be able to make the listening session. And you might be saying, Beth, why do I go to a listening session if I can just fill out a survey? I'll tell you. So we get the feedback is holistically different at listening sessions, because you all are working with and talking with each other And so like the quality of the responses changes. It's more thoughtful than just like filling out a survey on a 5-minute break from work. And of course, we, the WIN team, would benefit from getting those types of responses. But again, that's the ideal. If you can't make the listening sessions, we still want to hear from you. So we're going to do a survey as well. And we're going to use that information to then put together a tentative plan. So we'll convene and look at everything like, okay, this, here are these things, here's what parents are needing, here's what they're looking for, here's what wanting, here's what youth are wanting, blah, blah, blah. And so looking at all that information and then merging that with the research that we've done already with the Sticky Faith and with talking to other churches. And then we're going to put together a plan. And so we're going to have another meeting in late spring, maybe May-ish. I know May is cray. So I recognize that. I hear you. But we're going to present this. And what we'll need from you guys again is we will need you all to ask questions and share your concerns and share your feedback. Because we don't want to take all of that information, put it all together, and voila, we have this awesome plan. And then we take it and you guys are like, you kind of missed this really big thing right here. So we want to present this plan and get your feedback from it. And so then from there, we can take that feedback and then get back together and tweak the plan or change big parts of the plan if we have to. And then once we have all of that information, we'll make our master plan and we'll send it out to you guys. And as soon as we have it, we'll send it, and that would take effect this coming fall. So none of it would impact our summer at all. So that's the timeline, and that's the reason why we're doing this timeline, is to give you guys every opportunity to share what you're looking for, what you need. And we know that you guys are, there's things that you need that we don't know about, but we want to meet those needs. And so in order to meet them, we've got to listen and figure out what's what you need. So now what, this is it. This is the last slide, you guys. On Tuesday or Wednesday this week, we are going to provide specific details about the listening sessions. So you'll know they will be on Zoom. So sorry, we're not quite ready to do that in person yet. So login information, times, dates, all that good stuff. And also in the meantime, please spread the word. So like if you know some parents or some youth that like maybe used to be involved or not, or they've just, this particular version of youth ministry just simply didn't work for their family, so they're not engaged, please invite them along, because again, we want to hear from everybody so we can build a program that meets as many people as we possibly can. So okay, it's a lot of information. I'm going to stop sharing and open it up for questions. Oh, we've lost a lot of people. Sorry, guys. I know we're going late. For those of you who are amazing and are still on, I appreciate you and love you. And if you have any questions, this is your moment. Mary Beth.
So I just wanted to say just two things. I'll try and be brief. Just to affirm all the things that you have done, Beth, in your time as youth minister. Our youth group was really struggling, and in the time that you've come in, you've really have brought things in good order and really have re-engaged quite a few youth who had kind of fallen off. But the focus at this point, I think, is looking at how to restructure some things and how to engage even more families and offer even more support to youth and families together. Well,
thank you. Thank you, Mary Beth. Appreciate that. Do work pretty hard. So what questions do y'all have? Okay, if y'all have no questions, I've done an amazing job, and I know that can't possibly be the case.
So I don't really know all the things that go on for youth in a week in a given like normal church time. What, like, they have the youth time in the evening. Do they have a Sunday school time where they meet the same time as the rest of the kids?
So good question. During the normal non-COVID times, yes, we have the 4 o'clock youth group time, and then we have a Wednesday night middle school gathering, and then we have confirmation, and we also have leadership teams that meet on weeknights. We currently, keeping keyword, do not have any youth Sunday school offerings on Sunday mornings. We encourage youth to go to worship with their families, and we also offer a youth section at 9:30. So that's what we currently / in the past have been at.
So that's the kind of thing that we're
If you
looking
had volunteers to like help lead the Sunday school class, would that make a difference?
If you were asking about do we need volunteers, the answer is yes, always yes.
I taught youth Sunday school for like 7 years, and I did junior high school.
So
well then,
Elizabeth, that's part of the kind of thing that we're looking at, is how to offer support to families when families are all at church together on Sunday mornings. How can we have offerings for the youth and the families as a whole? And so to have an engaging time for the youth, whether it's Sunday school or call it something else or whatever, but during both hours of church. So that there's a balanced offering to families that go to the contemporary and the traditional. So those are some of the examples of kind of some of the restructuring that we're considering.
Yeah, because I would hope we still have an 8 o'clock service. We go to 8 o'clock service.
That is above my pay grade. I don't know what their future plans are regarding worship on Sunday mornings post-COVID. I'm waiting just like the rest of you all for that information. So excellent question. Did anybody else have any questions? And Elizabeth, I will be calling you. You should never tell me that like you have tons of experience with youth ministry. Like you will get a follow-up phone call. It just will happen. So
I was at a church and I didn't have kids at that point, and they're like, and I said, I would like to help. And they said, could you teach Sunday school? And they're like, go to the top of the stairs and just stop when there are no more stairs. That's your spot.
There you go. You'll get a little bit more direction from me if you volunteer for me, I promise. Not much, but like a little bit. I'm just kidding. Does anybody else have any other questions? And this can be summer trip too, if you thought of like a question about summer trips, if you wanted to jump in here with that too. We good? Okay. Well, as you all know, if we log off of Zoom and you're like, oh shoot, I do have a question, you know where to find me. Email is great. You can also text, call, whatever, Facebook message, Instagram DM. There's 1,000 ways. Please reach out. I'm happy to answer your questions. So before we go, will you all please pray with me? Holy God, thank you so much for this awesome group of parents. Thank you for their support and their love that they have with their youth, that they would give up time on their Sunday night to sit on another Zoom call for yet another thing. And so God, thank you for their hearts and their commitments to this program and to you. God, as we gear up to both get ready for the summer and face the challenges that come with the summer, and as we gear up and get ready to possibly make some changes to try and be more faithful and more accommodating in what we're doing. We ask for your continued guidance. We ask that you send your Holy Spirit to us and you reveal to us the best way forward so that our youth can truly have a sticky faith, faith that sticks with them even when the hoopla of youth ministry is over and they hit the real world in college, that they have a faith that sustains them and that carries them through all of their lives. So God, we ask that you be with us as we get back to our week after all this daydreaming and planning and staging, and just help us survive yet another week of this crazy year, and help us find the joy, help us get outside in this beautiful weather, and remind us who you are, and that you have been with us and will continue to be with us no matter what the world looks like. God, we love you, and we ask these things in the name of your Son, Jesus Christ, through the power of your Holy Spirit. Amen.
Amen.
Thank
All right.
you.
Thanks. I'm so sorry I went 25 minutes
Thanks,
late.
Beth.
Thank you, everybody. Bye.